Hey everyone, I'm Pion and welcome to my preview of Gladiabots. So this is a game about team robot combat and AI programming, which is a very interesting concept. You can see this is my team of robots over here, and this is the enemy team, and they will fight over the balls in the middle of the arena. The goal is to score more than half of the balls in your scoring zone. And as you can see, the robots have different models. So this is the basic assault model, this is the machine gunner, and we can change the model. For example, we could tell this assault to be a sniper instead, or a shotgunner. Let's go with the sniper, and then you can see the words above the robots. That's not actually the model name, that's the name of the AI I chose for that robot, so I can change that as well. And those are the AIs I wrote for those robots, and I named them accordingly to the roles or the models I want to use them on. So I wrote a sniper AI, which is best fit on a sniper model, which is why I named it sniper. So let's choose a sniper for the sniper, and just start the round and see what happens. So the robots start moving and shooting and stuff like that. You can see the health bars and the shield bars going down. So the model depends, or the model determines the weapon of the robot, the move speed, the shield, and the health values. And the shield basically is the white bar when you're not getting attacked for a few seconds. The shield will regenerate, which makes it a good strategy to retreat if your shield is low. And you can see the enemy doing that. My robots are not doing that. That's because my AI is not very well written, and that's why I'm losing this fight. You can see this A thingy above this robot. This is a tag. I told my machine gunner to tag enemies, and I told all the other robots to attack only the tagged enemies, so I get a little focus fire, which is a good idea, but it's not enough to beat this team, which is abusing the heck out of its shield mechanics, and I don't, so they screw me over. So let's take a look at the meat of the game, which is the programming. And this is the AI editor. As you can see, I have the different AIs here, and I can take a look at them or modify them, or we can create a new one, which I'm going to do here. Call it test. We go in there, and that's the programming window, I guess. And it's a visual branched-based programming language. So we have a starting point here, and you create a branch by doing this, and then you choose an action like move, or let's say, well, yeah, move towards an enemy. For example, move towards the closest enemy to me. Now we have an action, and the tooltips are very useful for this. It says move towards closest to me enemy. The grammar is obviously a little wrong, but it's clear what it means. So move to the closest enemy, and now we can give it another action if we want to, and say flee from the closest enemy. Why not? So now we have two actions that contradict each other because the robot can only move or flee, and in general the robot can only activate one action at a time. So we can have a third action, for example, and say maybe shoot, not move, shoot at the closest enemy. Oops, there we go. Now we have three actions, and the robot can only do one action at a time, so he has to choose one of them. And how it works is that the program checks counterclockwise which action to select or to activate. So in this case, it will move towards the closest enemy. We can test that really quickly. Let's go over here, choose test, and ready up. And now you can see this action is active, it's green, and the robot is moving towards the enemy, and it's not stop doing that. If we change the AI around and move that branch over here, then he will instead attack the enemy and will not move. So that's the basics. Now what we can do is we can add filters to this. For example, we could say if there is an enemy, if your shield is too low, if the shield is too low, retreat. So we select a target for the condition, which is myself in this case, and we say the condition is the shield is between 0 and 25%. The shield is between 0 and 25%. And now we have a condition for this action. And what we can do now is we put this branch to the left, so it has the highest priority. And now the robot will first try to execute this branch. However, as long as this condition is not met, the branch cannot be executed. So he will try to execute the next branch. So we can see that by selecting the eye. So as you can see, it goes to the second branch. Well, actually, that's for demonstration purposes. Let's change this around. And so now he's moving because the condition is not met. But as soon as his shield drops below 25, this condition is met, and he's actually fleeing. And as he's getting away now, his shield will regenerate again, and now the condition is not met again, and he's moving towards the enemy again. That's obviously not very useful, but that's the basic of the programming in this game. So Let's say 25 is not a good value though. We actually want to retreat when we're below 50%. So there's no real option to change this condition to 50% because you can only choose one of those, which is either 0 to 25 or 25 to 50. So that's not what we want. What we can do instead is we can add another condition that is similar to the first one. It says shield is between 25 and 50% on myself. And now we have an OR. And if we test that really quick, you can see that as soon as one of the conditions is met, the robot will start retreating. There we go. And now the shield dropped below 25, the other condition is met. And well, that's how it works. Okay, cool. So that's a little clumsy. Why do we need two conditions for one OR statement? You can do it differently, a little bit more simple, by having a condition that, well, matches both cases. So first you choose a target for the condition, in this case myself. I could also choose ally or enemy here, for example. And now I can choose a filter. And the filters, I can choose multiple filters. So I can say, for example, I'm carrying a resource and my shield is below 25. Or I can say my shield is below 25 or it's between 25 and 50. And I can apply this filter, and now it will only find a target for this condition if myself is below 50% shield. And now I can choose the condition, and the condition is just exists. So I can basically say, if myself has a shield between 25 or 50, if myself filtered down to only myself if I have less than 50% shield, so yeah, exists. Well, clumsy. Anyway, I think it's clear what it means. I'm trying to find good words to describe it, but basically it says, look for a robot that is yourself and check or only choose the robots that have less than 50% health shield, and then check if that robot exists, or at least one robot exists that meets that condition or that filter. And if that's the case, use that, and you will see this has the same result. And obviously this is a little bit less confusing if there's more than one possible target. So you could do the same with look for an enemy with less than 50% health, and then choose the closest one, for example, instead of someone exists. Not close one, but check if it is in close range to you, for example. Or you could do something like, is there an enemy that has less than 25% health and is carrying a resource? If that exists, then attack, for example. Things like that. That's how you could set it up. That's still not a useful AI, obviously. That's just for demonstration purposes here. So there's another feature. There's those connectors. I think they're just there to make things a little bit more well, but easier to see, basically. Like you can drag around the lines with this a little bit. They don't actually do anything, as far as I can tell. The really important feature, however, is the sub AI. So I can choose another AI I wrote before here and have that as an action. So if I have this as my second branch, when this branch is not active, the AI will try to find an active action in this branch. So if you go in here, you can see that there are more sub AIs in here. It will go for the first one and check if one of those actions is applicable. And if that's true, then it will, well, use that action. If not, it will go to the next branch. And if that's not, if there's no applicable action there either, then it will go over here. So let's actually take a look at my AIs to make a little bit more, well, to get some real world examples, shall we? Those are fairly basic. You will not get very far with those AIs. That's just what I came up with in a few minutes of play, basically. Well, I think a couple of hours probably, to be more precise. So all my AIs are structured in multiple sub AIs, and that's because I want to reuse my code and not rewrite everything. So you do that by writing sub AIs. So the assault is split in a medium range attacker and a scorer. So it will first try to do what the medium range attacker AI is telling him, which is three possible options. We have a filter here, or a condition that says, is there an enemy in short or medium range towards me and which has attack? In that case, attack detect enemy. If we don't have that, then just attack the closest enemy, which is in medium or short range. So this will basically, one of those conditions will be met as long as at least one enemy is in close or medium range. If all enemies are at least at max range or at long range, however, then this condition will not be met. So this branch is disabled. This action is there's no condition stopping this action, but the action cannot actually be executed because the action is filtered down to enemies that are at short or medium range. So you can basically have conditions in your actions as well. So this is not active. probably. And then there's another action called move toward closest enemy. So if we don't have an enemy at medium range, then we just move towards the closest of them and try to get in medium range. This action will most of the time actually can actually be acted on most of the time. However, it cannot acted on anymore if there's no enemy left. And in this case, we flip over to the scorer AI, which will figure out if we have a resource right now or not. And if that's the case, we will go to the ally base and try to score the resource, or well, go to the next closest resource and catch it. Because so far, my best approach was kill all the enemies and worry about the resources later. But that might change on higher levels of skill, I guess, because I'm not really experienced in this game. I only have some basic AIs. But yeah, that's what I found to be most successful so far. Don't worry about the resources, just kill all the enemies in an efficient manner. So yeah, that's how my assaulter works. And let's just for comparison look at another AI like the sniper, for example. The sniper is very similar. It has a long range attacker and a score, and a long range attacker says, is there an enemy in long range? Well, actually it says, is there an enemy not out of range from me? So is there an enemy in range, an enemy I can shoot at, which is tagged, and shoot at it. If not, then shoot at the closest enemy. And if there's no enemy in range, then I will move towards the closest enemy. And if that's not possible because there's no enemy left, score. And let's at last look at the tag leader, at the machine gun. The machine gun has 3 branches. That's not very nice, put it that way, because it has medium range attacker and scorer as the assault, but it also has on highest priority the command tag leader. And the tag leader has only 1 branch, which checks if there is an enemy that is getting attacked by me. And if that's the case, then I tag that enemy. This action can actually, this action is not blocking the other actions, but shooting and moving cannot be done at the same time, so only one of those actions can be active at the same time. But tagging is basically a free action, so you can use that while still attacking and moving and stuff like that. So this will tag an enemy, and then the rest of the logic applies, similar to the assaulter, or exactly the same as the assaulter. So the machine gunner will act exactly like the assault, but he will be the one choosing the targets, basically. And so the biggest complaint I have about this is that I cannot actually categorize those AIs as sub-AIs, because the long-range attacker, the medium-range attacker, the scorer, and the tag leader, they are actually full AIs, because I designed them in a way that they don't make sense on their own. They're just part of a bigger AI. They're not useful on their own. So it would be nice to categorize them as like subroutines or something along those ways. So I have only a few main AIs I can choose from my robots, and those are composed of different subroutines. However, that would be nice. So that would be a good UI thing to add here. In my opinion. In general, I'm not super happy with the programming language. It's just clumsy as fuck to create new things, because there's so many things to click, and there are multiple ways of doing the same thing. None of them are really satisfying to use. Like as I showed you earlier, sorry, as I showed you earlier, selecting condition. Now I can select a target. Now I select a target. Now I choose a filter, like whatever, or multiple filters. Then I choose a selector, and when I did that, I choose a condition, and I can also choose to invert the condition or invert the filters and things like that. There is a favorite target thingy, which is nice. It gives you some basic target filters already, which is kind of helpful, and you can actually create your own, which is also good. I think. That didn't work. Anyway. That's a good feature anyway, if it works. Maybe I just screwed it up, maybe it works and I'm just doing it wrong. Anyway, this is clumsy as fuck, and if you combine that with actions that can be filtered as well, it just becomes a mess. Like, it's not very intuitive, but it's not terrible, it's just not great. The biggest complaint I have with it is actually that I have to click it together, which makes sense because you don't want to scare off non-programmers by have them to write code, but from a usability standpoint, there's no advantage here to make this a visual programming language over a written one. Like, it would be way faster to write those conditions down in code instead of clicking through those thingies, by clicking through like 10 menus or whatever. It would just be easier to write it down. Maybe there could be like 2 ways of doing it. Like, you have to clicky thingy, but you can also like just say new condition, like having the branches visually makes sense, right? And clicking them, but you could have like make say new condition, and instead of having this, you can have a button here that says write code, and you just write down the code for this condition. That would be favorable in my opinion, because it just like it's not fun to click those things together, to me anyway, and that's the biggest reason why I'm not playing more of this, because I like the concept of having like a competitive game with AI programming, because this game has multiplayer. It has asynchronous multiplayer actually, which is really awesome, but I can't bring myself to write a good AI because it's just not fun to do. If you compare this to something like Scripts, I spent hours over hours writing good code for it because I had fun doing it, figuring out a good AI and writing it down. I struggled because it was JavaScript, and JavaScript, I hate JavaScript, but it was still a fun experience because it was not a big hassle to write the code. But here, clicking through this UI thingy, it's just not fun to me. That might be a personal issue, I'm not 100% sure, but still. And there's some useful features like duplicate selected node with links, or just duplicate it without links, stuff like that. So you can do these things, which is nice. And you can only select the target of the node, change the target of the node without picking, like, going through the whole node, stuff like that. So the developer is definitely trying to improve the UI over the last few versions of this game. This is in an alpha state, by the way. But it's the core principle of clicking this together is not fun to me, which is my problem. But let's go over the features of the game, because they're quite extensive, which is pretty cool. So there is a training mode which has a bunch of training missions, which that's basically the tutorial. It's pretty throughout it. It tells you everything you need to know. It's not too slow. It's not a super pace for an advanced programmer, but I think it's pretty well paced for someone who's not experienced in programming. So the training section is pretty good. Then you have the campaign, which is a new feature. So I only played what you see was the second level of the first campaign, first chapter. It's basically a number of matches. There apparently are boss matches as well, and you have to unlock them by improving your AI. And then there is the career mode, which is the multiplayer, and this is pretty cool. So there's a ranked mode, and you can say new ranked match, and what it will do, it will find an opponent for you based on your elo or your matchmaking ranking, and now it will put you in a match where there are different maps, by the way, as you can see, with different conditions for teams and where the balls are and things like that. And now you can choose your AI and stuff, and the opponent has his default AI selected here, and then you can ready up, and the enemy's AI will be selected automatically, and you would choose you will fight them, and you get a score. So the enemy is not actually online right now. He just chose his setup before, when he was online last time, basically, and now the game will just find me an opponent and let me battle against him asynchronously, which is pretty amazing, because that allows for the game to flourish while having a low player base, which is a really cool way of doing it. Seems like I have a chance here, not a great one, but the focus fire is really effective. He is retreating, which I'm not, but the focus fire is doing work here. Now I'm down to 2 though, but his are really low, and my focus fire is actually... Wait, I'm not actually focus firing, never mind. I don't have a machine gunner selected. No, I'm not gonna win that, I guess. Nope. Let's try to choose a different strategy here, though. Wait. Oh, yeah, no, I have to create a new match, obviously. Yeah, it also told me that the match is over now. I could watch it now. I just watched it, but I think I didn't completely watch it, which is why it shows it as a new match. So let's do that again, actually, and make this a little bit better. So we choose a machine gunner, giving the machine gun AI. We choose a sniper, giving the sniper AI, and then we ready up. And it jumped out. Wait, why can I not watch this one live? Weird. It did that earlier. Speed through that again. That's the one we lost. So you can see I have a ranking here, which will go up or down based on your performance. Go back. It actually didn't start a match for some reason. Maybe because it didn't want to fight the same enemy twice. I'm not sure. A little confused by that. That didn't happen before. Daily map rotation. Okay, whatever. So it's again putting me against the same enemy. That's the map, never mind, not the enemy. Okay, there we go. That's the map. I was confused. The enemy is not Eric. The enemy was Digital Ninja who beat me. And we're still waiting for an opponent here, apparently. Not sure why. Oh, there we go. We got one here, I guess. Oh, no, not deployed yet. Not sure why it didn't match me. Maybe there is nobody in my elo rank right now. No, I think there are people. Not sure why it's not actually doing that. There might be a reason for that, but usually you can just set up more matches and play more, which is pretty cool. And you can at some point, I think it just chooses. Can I choose my loadout? I don't think I can. It actually just takes the last one I used in a match, I think, which is a little which is not great. It would be nice to have a button here, choose your default loadout. That would be good. You can also play unranked if you want, so we can just do that. We can choose a game mode or a map, and it will match us with an enemy, and we can do that. And there we go. We're fighting Mac Company apparently. This map apparently has a little bit different starting positions for the robot, which is an interesting idea. So you can see how this goes. So that's the multiplayer, which is pretty cool. So as I said, this is a pretty good system of having multiplayer with a low player base. There's also a tournament system and private, and you can press the stats button, which brings you to a website which shows stats above your performance so far. You can watch replays of matches if you have the ID, so you can share the ID with your friends and they can watch the replay and stuff like that. There's also a sandbox mode where you can control both teams basically. So first you choose the mode, and then you can program both teams and test things out basically to refine your AI, or you can just go to the AI editor from here. So this is really cool. The option menu is okay as well. Actually, it's pretty good. Never mind. Show FPS control. Yay! I didn't check the control menu so far, I think. Nah, that's probably not a good option. So there's a bunch of stuff here actually. So that's pretty cool. Oh, some debug options as well. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. The game is a pretty cool concept. I just can't bring myself to play more of it because I hate the AI programming in it. I wish I wish that would not be the case because I love the concept. The game's also available on Android, by the way, so you can play it on your phone. It's basically the same version, just play it on your phone. It works pretty well on the phone because the AI editor is, well, designed for touch, basically, I think, which is probably why I dislike it. It's all the clicky thingies and visual AI programming I'm not fond of in this case, and I don't know how to fix it. Maybe writing, like the option I mentioned earlier, with writing the code would make it more desirable to me, but I'm not sure that would actually fix it. I can't really put my finger on it, which I feel bad for because I'm criticizing the game for not being fun and I can't really tell you how to make it better. That's always a shit position to be in, but it's just the way it is right now, and I'm trying to figure out why I dislike it, but it's just not fun. I think writing would help, but I'm not sure if it would help it being like it's definitely one of the things that annoys me, but I'm not sure if it's the only one, and if the ability to write the code would actually make it fun for me. It would definitely help though, so that's a thing to consider. So yeah, it's called Gladiabots. It's supposed to release next year, 2018, and it's available on itch.io right now or Android. I think it will come to Steam, I assume so. But it's not on Steam right now. You can get it on itch.io, so the alpha version, or I think for free on Android actually. So go check that out if you want to. It's not on iOS though. So yeah, as I said, it's called Gladiabots. I'm Pion. Thanks a lot for watching. Links are in the description below, by the way. Have fun and see you next time.